And it was just like a trick. Like if you knew it, then you'd be able to solve it in like 5 minutes.
Should we have even hired you?
Wait.
I'm joking.
Wait.
No, I told my interviewer like, oh, hey everyone. So as a bonus, my friend Joanne was here the whole time spectating. She really wanted to like join in on the conversation. She's just like smiling right now. So bad. Okay, so how did you prepare for interviews, and like what do you think are the best studying tips for interviews?
So for me, first you should learn all the algorithm basics. So your algorithm and data structures, which you should have learned, during school, hopefully.
Hopefully.
And for me, what I used was pretty much just LeetCode. So basically, I bought I subscribed to LeetCode so that I can look at the list of questions that each company asks the most, and they're actually really accurate. But I think like more important than that, just go through as many questions as you can, and then try to question yourself. There are the answers there, but the thing is, like you have to actually try to do it yourself first. There was a time where I would just look at all the answers because I didn't have enough time to like try to do it myself. But then when I tried to do it myself later, I still struggle with it. So I think it's important for you to actually try doing the questions yourself. And there's like questions of that have different difficulty, and I suggest you try like all of them.
Have you really encountered like hard questions during interviews?
Yeah, definitely really hard questions. Like from LeetCode.
This sounds like a LeetCode ad.
I know. Wait, you work for LeetCode?
I purchased LeetCode. I purchased.
I bought their premium service. They're
It's
really
very good. It's
very
good.
accurate.
That's how I got all my jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it doesn't have to be LeetCode. It could be any like there's also HackerRank and stuff like that where you can just actually code the question out.
No, I think LeetCode's like actual interview questions though. Like HackerRank, sometimes their questions turn into like word problems. Like, oh, the wizard wanted to build a brick like a wall.
I'm not saying you should like practice LeetCode just so that if you see the same question in the interview, you'll like do really well, because I think a lot of interviewers can kind of tell if you like seen the question before, you know how to do it.
Well, I think it's not just like seeing the exact same question, but at least you'll see like very similar questions.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So when I say, I've seen like a 3 of these questions, it's not really exactly the same question. It's like a similar problem where the solution is really similar because the type of the problem is really similar. So if you like practice enough, you'll have practice with how to like think about the question and how to, problem solve. Yeah.
Nice. Do you ever prepare like the non-technical stuff, like behavioral part of the interview?
I do a little bit. Like I have a list of questions, like behavioral questions, and like I kind of think of the answer beforehand. But honestly, like I haven't been asked that many behavioral questions.
Well, both of you do interviews now, right?
Yeah.
So like how much does behavior take? Like
so the interviews that we do are like mostly just technical. I think there is a separate interview for more behavior stuff. That's like the experience.
Like the manager.
Yeah, so usually the manager would interview you for that.
I don't know about when you do interviews, but even like when I'm doing phone screens, I still ask about sort of like stuff that they're working on, and like usually like you can tell when somebody has a lot of experience in leadership because they're very good at. I mean, I don't know if they actually have a lot of good leadership, but definitely for interviews, like you want to be like fairly good at projecting somehow that like you're a good leader. Not necessarily being like, oh, I'm a great leader, but like talking about projects where like you really like led the way, or like talking about like your responsibilities and stuff from like past projects. That's not you. That's not me. But yeah, normally
for me though, especially during my Lyft interview, because at the time Lyft didn't really hire new grad iOS engineers. Don't know if we still do. And like before me, there were only like 2 other new grad iOS engineers, and they were both like really good, like khaki. But I really showed like that I'm really driven, I have a lot of potential, and I'm really willing to learn and really excited about learning. And just like being able to like ask questions, but at the same time like not like showing them that like I don't need to be like have my hand holding like the whole time. Hand held.
No, that's a super good point. I think actually my advice was not really tailored to new grads. It was more to like existing industry people, because I haven't actually interviewed that many new grads, so I guess. Yeah, most of my interviews.
Our audience though.
Yeah, my bad. My bad.
But I think it's important for you to like show that you're passionate.
Yeah.
I think, like at least for me, I'm always really impressed when someone's like really passionate about either the company or just technology in general.
Yep.
Cool. What is your favorite interview question? Like not the interview question that you give, but like interview question in general.
Oh, it's been a while since I've had to do interviews. I'm trying to remember.
I think mine was like find the like longest palindromic substring.
That was your favorite question?
Just like the solution was like really beautiful.
Okay.
Like you're given a string, and then like find the longest substring that's a palindrome. Right. So you could do a brute force by like doing like multiple for loops and just checking every substring, or you can just go through like character by character, and for every character you explode or you expand outward, and you stop when it's like not a palindrome anymore. So you just do.
Yeah, I'm like thinking about that is like stressing me out right now, because I just remembered practicing all those type of questions, and then it was just like kind of stressful to practice these.
It was
questions.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful.
It's like not easy.
Okay, wait, I actually have a question. So there was always this like back and forth for me between doing a lot of questions and doing a few questions, but then like really doing them well, because like my philosophy was like, oh, I don't have to do a lot. I just have to train the skill of being a good problem solver, or like being good at solving these types of problems. And if I'm just like trying to go through 10 a day, then I'm like sort of rushing it and not really working that muscle.
Yeah, that's what I meant by like, oh, you should actually try to do the questions well instead of, maybe try to look at like all the solutions to like a bunch of questions. So I think you should take more time to like do each question.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you're studying for a lot of these technical interview questions, like the first, like there's a bunch of buckets that questions kind of fall in, right? Like the type of solution that they have, like greedy or DP or like whatever it is.
Tree.
Or like, yeah, if it's like a binary tree, like traversal or something like that. But like there are like definitely like genres of questions, and I think normally the first thing that you're trying to answer in your head is like what type of question it is. And I think that's where like doing like many problems helps. And I'm not saying like do 10 a day. I think that's a lot. I don't think I do 10 a day.
It's like really
10 is,
hard to do 10.
I did 10. There was like a few weeks when I was just like, today I'm just gonna master tree. Like these 2 days I'm gonna master trees. The next 2 days I'll master like
really
all the
hard.
screen.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, they give you like an hour to solve like the questions.
Yeah, but then like some of them are like easy questions, right?
That's true.
Like
yeah.
Like you just write a simple recursion.
Wait.
So how about like 3 easy questions, 2 medium, and 1 hard question a day?
I mean, really, it depends on your schedule too. So like
Yeah.
whatever works.
Like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
I think I went through like maybe a couple a day. Yeah. Like
Yeah, I think that was
2?
close to what I did, like 2 or 3. Sometimes just 1 a day. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes 0.
Yeah. I mean, I think as long as you've done enough questions in like each problem type to be able to train like identifying problem types, I think that helps a lot. So even if you get like a question that you've never seen before, which is what's supposed to happen, like you'll be able to sort of figure out what type of solution it probably like takes to like be efficient in solving that problem, and then you can like leverage all of your past experience like under that like problem type to like help you solve the problem without like doing so. I don't think the point is to do so many problems that you just like know the problems when you get them, right? That's like definitely not the point.
I think another like really helpful thing that I barely did was just to do it with like friends. Because when you do interviews with friends, like mock interviews,
right,
you sort of like push each other and you can bounce ideas off each other. And I was like, oh, I could have approached it this way,
right?
And like, this isn't something I came up with, but like they say like, oh, you can see things from the interviewer's point of view, and just because something is the right way doesn't mean it's the interviewer's right way. So like, don't be too discouraged if you fail an interview, because it might just be like your interviewer just like didn't think that was the right answer.
I think that's good advice. Definitely do mock interviews. That like helps a lot.
And also just I was grinding like maybe not 10 every day, but like definitely there were some days I did do like 10. Like I wake up, Lico, eat lunch, Lico.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then I noticed like I could do it in my head, and then whenever I like make a shortcut, like logical shortcut, it's just like, oh, it's just like intuitively it just makes sense. But then like when you say that out loud, like intuitively this just feels right. Like the interviewer is gonna be like, wait, can you actually like explain that?
Right.
So I think, so then at one point I was like, oh shoot, I have to like not just be able to solve these problems and have us code up the solution, but actually be able to communicate it out, which is like obvious to say.
I think that's really the point, is to demonstrate your problem solving. It's not even necessarily, I mean, it is to solve the problem, but you first and foremost want to demonstrate like how you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's almost bad to get like so comfortable with problems that like you forget why you originally like it just like makes sense, and then when you are in an interview and you can tell somebody like is making like way too many connections, like it's like pretty suspicious.
I was just gonna like say like, what do you guys think of, let's say you got a question that you know the answer to, you've like done it before.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think for me, like, and it was just like a trick. Like if you knew it, then you'd be able to solve it in like 5 minutes.
Should we have even hired you?
Wait,
I'm joking.
Wait.
I told my interviewer like, oh. Anything else to add, Joanne?
Oh, I think like when you're actually solving the problem, it's really important for you to explain your thought process.
Yeah.
I have candidates who are just silent the whole time, and it's really hard for me to like try to understand how they're trying to problem solve. So it's hard for me to gauge like, you know, if they're good at problem solving, because I don't know what they're thinking. So I always encourage them to like talk through their thoughts.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many people didn't talk through, because at least like when I was preparing, that was like one of the first things that I was told to do, which is like be very vocal about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like even if like you can't really over communicate, like they're not going to dock you points for talking too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's possible, but like unlikely. But I was surprised because when I did start interviewing, like a lot of people are just like straight silent, and it's hard for me to even help them, because like I want to like push them in the right direction, but if I don't know what they're thinking, like they could be going the complete wrong direction, and like,
you know what,
they
I
don't
hate
really
the
know
most?
until they like fail, right?
I hate the most when you're doing an interview and then you're going like down the wrong path, and then they keep guiding you down the wrong path, like, oh, tell me more about this, and you're like, oh, I'm on the right path, and you keep going, you realize you're on the wrong path.
Yeah, it's tough too, because sometimes you try to correct somebody, but if they're not catching like what you're trying to hint to them, it confuses them even more.
Oh, yeah.
So like that's something that like happened today during my phone screen, which is like I noticed like there was like an issue with the code, and I was trying to ask questions to get them to realize what the problem was, but the more questions I asked, I think like the more confused they got, and like if I had just let them go down their original route, they would have like noticed the error like right away. So that was like a learning for me, which is like, don't help too much, just like let them fail, and then they can like go and bug fix afterwards, right?
Yeah, and I also noticed that like sometimes I give hints and they don't really listen to me, like they don't pick it up because they're like trying to think so hard about how to solve the problem themselves. So I think it's important for you to like listen to everything your interviewer says.
Says.
Oh, wait, what is this supposed to be?
Says.
True.
Out.
That's really
I'll leave
funny.
that
Oh.
in. I think another thing is just like, I think for me, whenever I needed time to think, I could just say, oh, can I just get like 2 minutes just to think this out? And all of them
Yeah,
are just
that's fine.
Yeah, that's totally fine. It's
Yeah.
normally when people like just like jump in and like just like they're coding but they're like silent. That's when it's like
Yeah.
not great. Yeah.
yeah.
You can always feel free. I think it's always been a good thing when people have taken like even like up to 5 minutes initially like planning what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
That's super good.
Yeah, I would say to like don't jump straight into coding right away. You should, you know, like first talk through your thought process, maybe draw it out on the whiteboard or something like that, and then you can start coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just take a deep breath. Have water by your side. Be in a place with Wi-Fi. Try to be in a place that doesn't have a lot of people around you. Make sure Make sure you reserve a room. Get to your room early. Like all of this happened to me.
I see.
Make sure you pee before your interview.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So I guess we're just gonna. All right. So I guess that's like the. We're gonna cut the interview here. Had a lot of insights. I wish I knew all of this and didn't have to experience it firsthand. But at the same time, I feel like you only learn a lesson when you actually experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
But hopefully, when you experience it, you're like, oh, I remember Brandon and Jeffrey and Joanne saying something about this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and then I'll ask them the question, and they can like relay the answer. I can relay their answer to you. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Bye guys.
Bye.
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 True.